Welcome to Twin Osos. I'm your host, Joe Chapin. Today, I have to talk about something that I am very near and dear to my heart. Listen, when we see that the Lions are making this resurgence to the top, obviously the expectations of the team are sky high. And I think there's a person that we aren't really giving credit to that should get credit for. Sheila Ford Hamp has done an amazing job of rectifying her mistakes. Obviously, she was part of the reason, part of the problem where they brought back Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn for that final year. That was a huge mistake. And I think she's learned from that mistake because as you've seen this whole spectrum being built in the Detroit Lions organization, obviously she kept Rod Wood around. Obviously, Rod Wood is a great businessman. He's a good businessman for the Detroit Lions. Your team president is usually a guy who's a business guy who can broker deals with cities and sponsors and things like that, business decisions. I like what they did, and this is what I heard from a person that is close to the situation with the Lions is when she brought Chris Spielman in, she wanted she wanted to separate football from business. She wanted to keep Rod Wood on the business side strictly, and she wanted to get a football team. She didn't want it melting over. She felt like with Bob Quinn there was a little bit of melting over with Rod Wood and business decisions and all that stuff. This time she brought in Chris Spielman to be a consultant, to be kind of the guy that would steer how the organization was going to be should be ran. And when they hired Brad Holmes, when they hired Dan Campbell, that was obviously a great hire on both courts. Obviously, Brad Holmes is a good general manager. You've seen the results so far. Dan Campbell, he's been a great coach so far. He's made significant progress making the things that obviously last year with the end of the year, you've seen the team get better. That was all Sheila Ford Hamp. And what I like about what Sheila is doing, Sheila did this because obviously, when you talk about the Fords and you talk about the ownership of the Lions, obviously it's not a good kind of mix. And there's a lot of fans that booed her at the Calvin Johnson kind of ceremony. And I truly think that she took that to heart. And you can see with the way that she's been building the obviously being the owner, she's been putting the pieces together with the general manager, with the coach, with the whole football operations team, and kind of making this better. When you talk about football and you talk about ownership, you talk about guys and women that have made the right decisions to put their teams in the best position possible to win. And what really kind of made me think that she is different from the other Fords is in the middle of the year when they were 1-6, she came out and she backed Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And from that time, they went 8-2 or 6-2 or something like that, something along those lines. Yeah, 6-2. And she did a really good job of backing her guys, and they went 6-2 down the stretch, and they look like they have full momentum going towards next year. Obviously, you heard with Kyle Meinke and some of the guys that the Lions are looking at a new practice facility. You've seen the upgrades at Ford Field, the upgrades in turf at the practice facility in Ford Field. It shows that Sheila's committed to winning. She's committed to making the team the best that they could be. When they went and hired that new medical guy, it showed that literally they are taking this as a really tough stance that they want to be better in all facets of football. And when you go and get the top medical consultant that consulted with 32 different teams, I think that's something that tells you a lot about this Detroit Lions team moving forward. And I think Sheila Ford Hamp deserves ultimate credit. I think she is the number one reason why this team is trending in the right direction. I think that the hires that she's made, the people that she's brought into the organization, it's put this team in a better spot moving forward. And we talk about the Fords all the time. People have talked about the Fords for a long time, saying that they don't want to win and things like that. But what we've seen from Sheila Ford is she does want to win, and she is going to win. And I'm excited for Detroit Lions fans because for once you have an owner that is literally putting herself in a position to make this team better moving forward. I'm Joe Chapp. What do you think in the comments about the Lions ownership and what Sheila Ford Hamp is doing? Let me know below.